the reason why people back Maguire is because they see themselves in Maguire with the low confidence, with the no talent, with the not good looking, with the just average personality, average intellect. Yeah, a lot of people see themselves as Maguire. That's why they back him, because that's what they see in him. Like if you look at someone like Grealish, for example, he wouldn't get him backed. Why? Grealish is a confident guy. He's a talented player. He's a flair player. Is a good-looking guy. You know, he's a ladies' man. They don't like that. They're intimidated by that. Where Maguire is not intimidated. So that's why they back Maguire. This is why people like Maguire. So if you listen to those people that like Maguire, they are low confidence people. Even footballers who were at the top of the tree, remember, they can lose confidence too. So they can back Maguire because of their low confidence and their low self-esteem. But this is Manchester United, the badge, yeah? We do not accept low anything. This is why we are where we are for the last 11 years. And it will continue for another few years, because Erik ten Hag is not showing that he can be capable of taking us to where we need to go. Now, people talk about Erik ten Hag needs to be backed. Like, for example, the Sancho situation, yeah? Why would we let go of an asset because Ten Hag doesn't like him? Like, you have to think about this properly, right? This is what the problem with Man United and Man United fans, particularly in backing the manager. Like, this is Fergie days. This is not the old school days of Fergie where you just blindly back the manager. Okay? That manager might get sacked. Yeah, that manager might not make it. You don't blindly back a manager until he has shown you those type of credentials where he has proven to be blindly backed. And finishing third and winning the League Cup is not proving a lot. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not good either, because Mourinho's done better. Even Ole's done better, except for winning the trophy. So don't tell me about backing Ten Hag, this, that, and the other. Okay? We have to be... The problem with us is that we're not a modern football club. We are still living in old imperial ways where we just back the manager. But most clubs have a director of football, a technical director, you know, a CEO, and all these other board members and all these other technical people in the club that make the decisions along with the manager. Okay? Now, the manager has the final say on the pitch. There is no doubt about that. He has full control, but he should not have full control of who stays and who goes. Now, I don't know what Man United are really doing, because they say 1 minute Murtaugh's doing this and Eric, but you seem like Erik ten Hag is really selecting the players when I look at it like that. So for me, we are still living in this old school regime where the manager selected the players, and then when the manager gets sacked, we are left with the manager's players, and then we have to start again, where we should be focusing on the style of play that we want and the type of player that fits that style of play. It's really as simple as that. There's nothing else to it. It's really as simple as that. And what type of player do we want at Manchester United? If Sancho is not the type because he is a flair player that doesn't have blistering pace like some other players, but Antony doesn't either. Antony and Sancho is faster than Antony. Antony might track back a little bit better than Sancho, but that's it. Sancho is better in every single way than Antony. Every single way. There is nothing that Antony can do better than Sancho, except cut inside and cut it in top corner. And I guarantee if they had did 10 times each for both of them, I guarantee Sancho would win that. But the fact remains that Sancho just doesn't play that type of style, which is selfish and unintelligent football. This is the problem here, you know. But the biggest problem we have at Manchester United is the board. I've said this many times, and I will keep continually saying this. We have Alex Ferguson. We have 5 board members. Only 5 board members we have. One of them is Alex Ferguson. The other one is Bobby Charlton. The third is David Gill. And the fourth and fifth are the two Glazer brothers, Joel and Avram. So these 5 people are the reason why we have Murto, why we have Richard Arnold, why we have the coaches we have, why Erik ten Hag is here, why the Greenwood scenario, the Anthony scenario. People talk about the CEO, Richard Arnold, but he has to go through the board for approval. He has to go through the board for approval. The board aren't running the club, the CEO is, but they approve what they need to. And with this type of structure that we have at Manchester United, has been approved by this board, and it's not Avram and Joel Glazer approving it. It is the old school imperialistic ways of Alex Ferguson, David Gill, and Sir Bobby Charlton. Sir Alex Ferguson, should I say. This is the problem. This is why Manchester United are remaining how they are remaining. Just moving not correctly. They don't move like a correct club. They don't move like a big club. They don't move like we have actual specific targets and ways and operate like Chelsea, like Tottenham, like Arsenal, like Liverpool, like Manchester United. We do not do that. We do not even come close to that. Now, Ten Hag really needs to sort the Sancho situation out. And we have 3 games that he needs to win in the Premier League. Brighton, Burnley and Crystal Palace. If he cannot win more than 2 games, we are finished. If we get less than 4 points, less than 6 points out of those 2 games, we are finished. We cannot achieve a lot with not being able to get more than 6 points against Brighton, Burnley and Crystal Palace. We might as well pack it in with Erik ten Hag. These are his signings. People talk about he hasn't made his signings. These are Erik ten Hag's signings. All of them are his signings, except for Casemiro. We have to show that we can actually be capable of doing something. Or for me, Ten Hag needs to be considered. Needs to be considered. We can't be here in our second season still flandering around. Now, people might say, well, Ten Hag didn't get all of his targets. Ten Hag didn't get all of his targets. Who are we talking about here? Kim Min-jae. Is that what we're talking about? We're talking about a defender. The one target that we didn't get. King Min-jae. We didn't get King Min-jae. Bruv, I'm sorry. King Min-jae is not going to make us a better team. We have Arena Martinez. Yeah, he might be a better backup and this, that and the other. Okay, Maguire wouldn't have come on. But we still don't know that because we still don't know the situation with Maguire. He could have still stayed if we bought Kim Min-jae. So, I don't understand. I don't get the King Min-jae push that really changes Ten Hag's targets. He wanted Amrabat. He wanted Mason Mount. He wanted Højlund. He wanted Anthony. He wanted Malacia. He wanted Martinez. He wanted Onana. These are the guys that he wanted. These were his first targets. And don't tell me otherwise. Don't tell me otherwise. And you can't talk about unrealistic targets. Like, oh, maybe he wanted Harry Kane, because I don't think he really did. And even if he did, no, only one team bought him because they needed him most, is Bayern Munich. We thought we could have bought him, but Tottenham were never going to give us to him. So it's an unrealistic target. Yeah, these are unrealistic targets. Let's not talk about unrealistic targets that we aren't going to get. Let's talk about his targets that he got, that he wanted, that he believed was the best for Manchester United. Or he wouldn't have bought them in his eyes. Yeah, we have shown our cards and now we have to show what we can do. But for me, I am very, very suspect about Erik ten Hag. I think the Anthony situation is good because I think you need to treat players the same. across the board. If you're going to treat Greenwood one way, you have to treat Anthony the same. And yeah, I think Maguire has just proven that he's rubbish. I mean, McTominay is, talking about all these goals and all these and people saying that McTominay should be at Manchester United. But when it comes to a big game, where was he? Nowhere to be seen, as per usual. This is what McTominay does. He hides against big teams, and he hides because he doesn't even hide. He's just not that talented. He can get in the box and score a goal, no doubt. But then you should be a bench player to come off the bench when we need a goal in the last 10, 15 minutes. That should be your role at Manchester United. That's how you utilise McTominay properly. Bench player trying to score when we need a goal. Because he probably can get a goal from the bench. There's no doubt. Anyway, I think that's all I was wanting to say. I think that's it really. I don't think had any other points, any other topical points. But, the club's been, the people talking about the Glazers and Ineos and this takeovers thing is still talking about the takeover rubbish. And I'm like, guys, can you please move on? The Glazers are tricking you again because we are going through turbulent times. So they need to distract you with some sort of sell talk or this, that, and the other. Can we please stop talking about the sell? Because all you're doing is feeding fans rubbish. And I think it's bad to continue to talk about the sell. People might think, but it's relative news. But it's not relative news because there is nothing to talk about. Fabrizio Romano said himself, I don't think we should talk about the Glazers selling until there is something concrete because it's not fair on the fans. That is the best comment I've heard anyone talk on the internet about the sell because it's not fair. You are teasing the fans. All of you channels that are talking about the sell, and yeah, I might be talking about it too, but I'm talking about it to be stopped to be talked about because it's teasing. It's teasing because the Glazers are not going to sell. They only said they were going to sell to distract the fans about the Ronaldo comments when he said the club hasn't changed for X amount of years. It's called a distraction technique. The Glazers must be CIA trained or advised in terms of how to run the club because they know how to distract the fans every single time. And every single time, most of you fans fall for their tricks. Every single time. It's embarrassing. I would be embarrassed if I was you guys. Stop talking about the sell. It's not going to happen. They do not want to sell. They want to stay because they have nothing better to do. They are greedy. And what do greedy people do? They want to own everything. Greedy people do not like to sell because they feel empowered when they have, and they feel less power when they don't have. So for them to sell is unacceptable in their eyes. So guys, it's not going to happen. And if it does, let it happen. Stop living in hope because Manchester United is a sinking ship. Our team is whack. Our manager seems average. Our coaches are falling out with players and telling the manager. Our directors of football are clueless. Fletcher, Richard Arnold, John Murto, some other communication guy. Nothing. Our board are they're not even retired. They're just tired. Our board are tired. They can't stay awake. They are old men. 80s. They are in their 80s, these men. Our owners are greedy. Our fans are stupid. So to me, the whole Man United situation is finished. I'm Tactical Red. This is Tactical United.